Are you the seller of a property? Are you aware about transfer deed TR1 form? Hi guys, welcome to our channel. TR1 form is a transfer of whole of registered title. The TR1 form is a formal land registry document which transfers the legal ownership of a property from one party to another and is executed as a deed. The transfer will then be registered at the land registry and noted on the official copy entries. It is an extremely important document that you should read carefully with your solicitor before signing. Now let's see when to use the form TR1. A TR1 form is used when a party is looking to register a property for the first time, or when they intend to transfer an entire property mentioned in one or more titles to someone else. Please note, in cases where you're looking to transfer or sell a part of a given registered property, you will need to use the land registry form TP1. A TR1 form must be signed by a seller in the period between the property exchange and its completion. Sellers should provide their signature before completion has occurred. Its purpose is to indicate that the buyer has purchased a property from the seller according to the conditions included in the form. You would also require an adult witness to witness the deed. Remember, it could take several weeks or even months for the changes made in the TR1 form to start reflecting in all the official government records, including those at the land registry. Nowadays, it is standard and mandatory to update the land registry of changes in the property ownership in the UK and all the associated details. Ensure that you have a qualified legal representative involved in completion of TR1 form. Now let's see what you must do before you use a TR1 form. So there are two things to be done. First, check if the property has previously been registered before with the land registry. This is highly important first step because it affects the information needed to be sent over. To do this, the solicitor can use the Find a Property service or carry out a search of the index map. Additionally, if the property has not been previously registered, then you have to pay double the standard land registry fee for its first registration. The second thing that you need to do before you use a TR1 form is check what is in the register. If the property is registered, then there might be details in the register to consider before you complete the transfer of the property. So to see what is in the register, you can view or download a copy of the register, or you can get an up-to-date official copy of the register. Now the entries in the register may include, number one, a restriction, an entry requiring action before registration of the transfer can take place. Number two, a agreed notice or a caution. You may need to apply for its cancellation or removal. Number three, a clause in the lease. If the property is on leasehold, then you need to take the permission of the landlord or at least inform the landlord. Number four, the permission of the lender if the property is mortgaged, or evidence of the mortgage discharge if you are paying it off. When sending the TR1 form, you must also send the following documents: stamp duty certificate, Form AP1 or Form FR1, Certificate of Identity. The deed has a number of different sections in the form that you should be understanding before signing. The guidance to fill the form is available in gov.uk website. I will just go through few sections in the form. First one, title number. Insert the title number or numbers of the property you are going to transfer. So you will find this title number in the first page of the copy of the register. If a property is not registered, then you leave this panel blank. Number 2, property. Give a brief description including the postcode of the property you intend to transfer. Number 3, date. This is the date that will be recorded as the date of completion of the property transfer. It should not be completed until the completion has taken place, even if the contract has already been exchanged, because of the possibility of delayed completion. 4, transferor. The transferor is the seller, or in case of a gift or transfer of equity, the person making the property transfer is the transferor. And then their full name should be inserted in this particular section. The name or the names should match the official copies unless there is an evidence of a change of name. For example, a marriage certificate is supplied. The next section is the transferee. Insert the full name of the people to whom the property is to be transferred. Now, if the transferee is a company, then you will need to complete the additional fields in the panel. Next is address. This is the address of the property, which is subject to the property transfer. For registered land, this must match the address on the official copies, unless there is an evidence that is supplied on the registration showing that the address has changed. Keeping your address up to date is very important because the land registry may have to send some important notices that could affect your rights. The next section is a standard clause within the transfer which confirms what the intention of the parties are for the transferor to transfer the property to the transferee. The next section is consideration. So enter the amount paid for the property being transferred. Then comes title guarantees. Now in providing these guarantees, the transferor gives certain binding promises about their title to the property. The contract will state what level of guarantee is offered by the seller, and that is recorded in this section of the property transfer deed. The next section is the declaration of trust. Now this section of the transfer deed only applies where there are 2 or more buyers. Now if a property is held as joint tenants, then all the owners own the property. The next is additional provision. Sometimes there are agreements between the transferor and the transferee. So this is where you should enter the details. The next one is execution. So this is where the sellers and buyers sign the property transfer deed. As this is a deed, the signatures must be witnessed. The witness should be independent and preferably someone who knows you really well and could confirm you did sign the deed if necessary. Now, one party of the transfer cannot witness the signature of another party to the transfer. So each, the transferor and the transferee, should have their own witness. Overall, the TR1 form is essential to the agreement that the buyer buys from the seller under the conditions stated, and it must be signed by the seller before completion takes place, usually in the period between exchange and completion. That's all for today, guys. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, do subscribe and click on that bell icon so you would be notified when we post our next video. Have a lovely day.